retrieval because a lot of stuff has been happening.
Yeah.
We'll tell you about it now.
Well, I pretty much almost died. So we're going to tell you about that. Right?
Yep.
And that's not an exaggeration. We had the egg retrieval. If you watched the previous videos, I was getting ready to go to the egg retrieval. We had a whole bunch growing in there. And I'll put a clip right here of me being all, it's so like sad to look back on. Like, but kind of cute, I guess. Like how excited I was going into egg retrieval day. And I was just like, I had a little pep in my step and yeah, we were excited. So went in for the egg retrieval. With lean PCOS, I'm at higher risk for Ovarian Hyperstimulation Syndrome, which basically they'll go in and you've got a whole bunch of eggs that have grown in your ovaries. They go in and they take out each egg that they can get. I think for me, how many did they take?
43.
So they take all of them out and then the follicles are left empty, and so they, with Ovarian Hyperstimulation Syndrome, they fill back up with fluid, and then your body realizes that it doesn't need that. So it releases the fluid, but instead of your body putting it out, it just kind of goes into your third spacing between your organs and stuff. So there's different mild, moderate, severe.
Yours was definitely severe.
Yeah. There's different levels, and they anticipated I would definitely have some form of it, but they assumed it would be, just like swelling. You might have a little bit of a hard time breathing if you're going through IVF, just be aware. You'll probably feel about 4 months pregnant. You got like your belly will swell quite a bit. And then the trouble breathing is okay. There's a little bit of pain, and that's okay, and it kind of just goes away eventually. So that's a little brief intro for you on OHSS, which is what I got. But anyways, back to the egg retrieval. I woke up and Michael will tell you a little bit about that.
It was kind of funny. She was crying from the anesthesia and she couldn't stop crying. She kept saying, everybody was so nice.
Well, I just felt like the nurses and the anesthesiologist and the doctor, like everybody was so nice. I remember that crying and like, oh, I'm so grateful. And I was excited because I thought, okay, we did it and we're going to have a baby now and it's going to be awesome. But then I like fell back asleep and it took me a long time to come out of anesthesia, which should have been
Or just to get out of the recovery room. You were pretty dizzy and
yeah.
It wasn't too painful, it was just pretty dizzy and then a little bit of discomfort in the stomach area.
Yeah.
They recommend 75 to 100 grams of protein to help reduce some of the abdominal swelling and the fluid in the third space, but I mean, if you're going to have a severe case, that is definitely not going to help.
I followed all the rules. I was so good.
But anyway, so when she went to sleep that night, it was okay, a little uncomfortable, but the next morning when we had a follow-up appointment with the doctor, I had to go to work, but luckily her mom was here. Mm-hmm. She was having a really hard time sitting up and just being able to walk.
So actually when I got up in the morning, I couldn't even like stand. I took 2 steps and everything was going black, like I was going to pass out. My legs were shaking. So I told my mom I couldn't go to the doctor and we called them and they said, no, you have to come in. So I like somehow got it together and got to the car and my mom took me, and when we got there, there was no way I was going to be able to walk from the car into the doctor's office. My mom dropped me off right in front and then I lied down on a bench and she had to get me a wheelchair because every time I would stand up I felt like passing out. So she wheeled me in a wheelchair and they took me in the back, and some of the nurses were just like really nice, the ones that helped me before, and they're like, what happened, are you okay? And then I saw that mean nurse in the background and she was just like this girl. But I did not even care, I didn't feel good. So anyways, they took me in, doctor came in and they were trying to figure out what's going on, and then all night I was getting like phrenic nerve pain, which goes from your, what is this, diaphragm. And every time I either inhaled or exhaled, I don't remember, it was like a shooting pain to my shoulder. So it kind of, it's not the worst pain ever, but if it happens for every breath, it gets kind of exhausting, and it wasn't good. But anyways, there was that, and then my belly was quite a bit swollen. So doctor wanted me to go home, and then if it got worse, then come back, whatever. So they were getting me ready to go. My mom went out to get the car, and we actually tried filming this part before, and it's just such a long story, so I'm going to try to cut it really short. But my mom went out to get the car. Then I don't know where everyone went, but all the nice nurses were gone, and my doctor was gone, and they left me with the mean one. So the nurse came up to me and was like, "Do you need the wheelchair to go out to the car?" And I was like, "Yes, please." So she put me in there, and immediately sitting up, I was like, okay, something doesn't feel good. But whatever, just suck it up. So I sat in the wheelchair, she was wheeling me out to the door, we got to the door, and it was all going black. I was not able to hold myself up. I knew I was going to fall out of the chair. So I told her, like, "Oh, please, I need to lie down. I'm so sorry, I need to lie down really quick." And she got really mad at me. I don't know what her problem was. Basically, she was yelling at me things like, "Why are you behaving like this? Cut it out, quit it, and stop acting this way." And that's the condensed version. I needed to rest my head on the chair. She grabbed my shoulder, pushed me back, and yelled for me to quit it. And the story goes on. It was very traumatic. My mom wanted to file a complaint, but I stopped her. But yeah, I don't know what was up with her. Anyways, next thing I know, I was telling her I need to lie down, and she told me, "What do you want to do, lay on the floor?" And I remember saying yes, and my vision was almost all the way gone, and then I passed out. I woke up next to the bed, and the doctor was back. No. They had wheeled me back, and I was by the bed, the nurse was gone, they were talking to the doctor, so I don't know how long I was out for. Doctor called the ambulance to have them come and get me. They took me to the hospital, and my mom called Micah.
And then I left right away to go to the ER to make sure she was doing okay. Mm-hmm. So when I got there, because she was laying down, she didn't have to sit up or stand up at the time. She was doing okay, maybe a little discomfort or pain, and she was really hungry because she didn't eat anything the night before, or very little, and she didn't have breakfast that day. And when they got to the ER, they didn't want her to eat anything just in case they had to do any kind of emergency procedure. So she basically didn't have food for, at that point, maybe like 14, 16 hours, because you didn't eat much at all the night before. Mm-hmm. And then they were eventually going to discharge her. But luckily, when the nurse was having her try and sit up and stand up to have her make sure she could walk around, that's when they discovered that she was having the orthostatic hypotension, where her blood pressure would just drop and she would get really dizzy and basically black out. So because of that, that's when they decided to admit her.
Wasn't it overnight. Super low?
It was pretty low. I think systolic was like 50, diastolic was maybe like 30 or 20. It dropped really fast. Because when she was lying down, it was normal, maybe like, your normal blood pressure is like 100 over 60.
Yeah.
So it was around there. But when she sat up or stood up, it dropped to like 50 over 30 or 20 really fast.
Yeah, so we're lucky they caught that, because they were going to discharge me. So they were like, "Oh no, we need to..." Well, actually, until like a couple days ago, I thought all of this that we're about to talk about happened in the same morning. Apparently not. They admitted me overnight, and I didn't realize I was there overnight. Things just kind of blended together. I was a bit out of it. I was getting a lot of pain, which might have been why I didn't know what time it was or what was going on. But I was starting to get a lot of pain. My belly was swelling more and more, and we were taking pictures of it like, "Look at this is crazy." So as you can tell, this all started off like, there's like, lighthearted, funny moments, and then it just gets kind But yeah, we were like, look at this, and we were taking pictures. But then it was getting really painful, so they asked if I wanted pain medication. So I told them okay. They asked me to rate my pain scale of 1 to 10, and I was trying to be realistic. And I was like, I'm gonna go with 7, but I'd really like to say higher because it was kind of bad. They ended up giving me fentanyl, and we have video of me just like, wow.
This is amazing. My pain right now is like a 0.5.
Like immediately, it was so good. And then I don't remember them taking me to the floor. I thought this whole time I thought I was still in the ER. I didn't know where I was.
Yeah. So they transferred her to the floor because it's like the actual room, and then we basically stayed there overnight, and then so throughout the night it was okay, but about 4 or 5 in the morning things started to get really bad, where you were complaining of a lot of pain.
Yeah.
So at that point, the nurse, because of the pain and discomfort, and she saw your stomach was starting to swell a lot, she decided to call the rapid response team, where they came and did blood work and decided to give you some IV fluids, unfortunately.
And then I was also apparently like bleeding a bit internally. So anyways, they came back. I remember her saying she's septic, and it just freaked us out. I mean, I don't want to brush over it like it wasn't serious just because it wasn't sepsis. Looking back, I don't think that's what it was. But something was definitely going on, was very wrong with me. And so their solution was to pump me full of fluid. They weren't familiar with OHSS, my doctor wasn't there because it was very early in the morning.
So the doctor, or the on-call doctor at the time, even came in, and he said to us, I've never had a case like this, so I really don't know what to do in this case. So he tried contacting the IVF doctor and some of the OB doctors just to get some input, because he had no experience with this, which is understandable, because this, when we spoke to the IVF doctor after, he said this kind of case might happen once every 4 to 5 years.
That they hear about.
Yeah, very rare.
But yeah, so I remember them saying she's septic. They pumped me full of fluid. It got way worse because it was like 2 liters in.
Basically, all the fluid just went
really
straight to her
short
stomach.
time.
It was 2 liters over like an hour or something, really fast.
Yeah.
So all the fluid that they put in just basically went straight to her stomach. So her stomach swelled even more,
and
it was even more uncomfortable.
So what they figured out was that I needed to get a drain put in. So by then the rapid response team had left, and then we're waiting the department that usually does the procedure wasn't open yet. So they were trying to talk to them about, I have to be the first one as soon as you guys open, all of that.
The first people will come in at 9 o'clock at that department. I don't know why.
Yeah.
But 9 o'clock came and went. And
9:15,
9:30, 9:45, we're still sitting there, and she's in tons of pain, and you can obviously tell her stomach is huge. So finally, like 9:45, 10 o'clock comes, and then the nurse.
I'm so glad I had her. She was getting super mad, and she was like, I don't know if they do not understand stat, but I'm going to call this rapid response in like the next 2 minutes if they don't call me back. Which she did, because they didn't call her. So she hit the rapid response, and they came in. There was an ICU nurse, there was the doctors, and then I don't remember much, but I remember them asking Micah if they knew what my medical decisions were if I didn't come out of it, and that just like
freaked us both out.
Yeah. Like, I remember looking over at you and like your face, your face and the face that the nurse was making at you, I didn't think I was going to get emotional talking about it. Anyways. I remember seeing the face the nurse was making at you and the look on your face, and it was very clear to me that something serious was going on with my, they did the blood count and they thought I was septic, and we didn't know any different yet. So all I'm thinking is, okay, I'm septic, they need to do some sort of emergency bedside procedure. They don't know if, something bad could happen to me. And they're asking Micah about my medical decisions. So I was just very freaked out. My mom wasn't there. She had gone home to get stuff or take a shower or something. So it happened very quickly. And I called my parents just to tell them that I loved them. Because, we were very freaked out. And then I don't remember what happened. Obviously, I had the procedure, I guess.
So what happened is, I think she fell asleep or passed out or something. But they transferred her to the ICU really fast, and then as soon as she got into the ICU, within 10 minutes, they put in the drain. So I don't think you remember anything from that point for the rest of that day, because when they put in the drain, they knocked you out again. So I saw what happened after. They put in the drain and they drained out 2.5 liters of fluid, like bloody fluid.
Immediately, right?
Immediately, okay? And then, so they left the drain in, and then after that, for the next, 5, 6, 7 days, probably an average of 2 to 3 liters were coming out. Mm-hmm. It wasn't as bloody, it was a little more clear, but it's still a lot of fluid coming out of that drain.
Yeah. And it was just so weird. You go into the hospital, sure, they'll put a drain in, but the fact that I woke up and I had to be on the ICU floor for, that week, and they were, all the blood draws and everything they had to do, they had to put a Foley catheter in. I won't get into too much detail on that, but that was the worst thing ever. The Foley catheter was the worst thing of the whole experience. The pain level, all of that was fine. That pain was not okay. And it wasn't just, when they did it. It was, for some reason, the nurse's theory was because of the hormones I was taking made it really sensitive. If you even, accidentally tapped it a little bit, it would wake me up from, a dead sleep. It would wake me up screaming. And some of the doctors and nurses were just I'm not even touching it. But because, that's not normal. There's just, you don't usually see that, but it was just so sensitive. And Micah and my mom became watchdogs. Every time a new nurse came in, it was wait, you cannot touch it unless you wake us up to let her know what's going on. She has to know you're going to do it, and it was just so bad. But yeah, that was... So anyways, and then also the other weird thing was I just felt so, I feel within a day I lost all my strength. I couldn't sit up on my own. I couldn't, it took so much effort to just roll over. They were feeding me because I guess I wasn't eating. I thought I was eating a lot. Every day, all day in the ICU, I felt like I was trying to eat constantly.
She was just taking small spoonfuls of either miso soup broth or chicken noodle broth, and that was about it. Maybe 3 or 4 per meal.
So I ended up losing a lot of weight. Well, first I was 12 pounds heavier, if that gives you an idea of how much fluid and stuff was going on. Was I gained 12 pounds while I was in the hospital, but I wasn't eating. So when we got home, eventually, way later, even a week or two after
you got home, there was still some of the fluid on.
Mm-hmm. Long story short of the hospital stay, I was in the ICU, week-ish, and...
on the regular floor after that for about a week-ish.
I blew 3 IVs. I have really small veins. And on the last day, the last one blew, and they were debating keeping me there or not, but my doctor fought really hard that he felt very strongly that I needed to be at home, and just go home with the drain and, just get out of the hospital. So, because I was so uncomfortable, I wasn't sleeping, and they would do blood draws over and over, and one doctor would order something, and then 2 hours later, they'd have to draw blood again, and again, I had really small veins, so... Micah, I think we have a photo of it, right?
Yeah, the bruise on one of the veins. Or on one of your arms.
I couldn't really use this hand because it was so bruised and swollen. And from blowing the IVs, my arms were like super puffy, like Michelin Man. And we laugh now. Like looking back, we can kind of go over it, but that was a really scary time. Like being so seriously sick and needing to be monitored like that, and it just.
You basically couldn't do anything. It was pretty scary.
Yeah, I couldn't walk. I'll put a.
You couldn't
Michael
walk?
wanted me to put this picture in, and I wasn't going to, but he convinced me to just show, like, we're very friendly when we talk about this, but it was really serious. So there's a photo of me trying to walk, and it was, like, so hard, and it looks like it was so hard. I look horrible, so we'll put that right here. But yeah, so they ended up discharging me home, and with the drain, so we had to keep draining it, and I ended up getting like a heat pad to help with the pain. I recovered longer at home and had to every day try to like walk a bit, and it was just such a long process. And you know, being 28, you don't think that it will take you so long to bounce back, but I guess not eating for 5 days and being in bed all the time, yeah. I'm still not 100%, and it's been how long since I got out? Several weeks.
Maybe like 3 weeks.
3 weeks?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm still not 100%. I can actually walk around the IKEA now without passing out. But yeah, it was just a lot. So I didn't want to make this video to like scare people about OHSS, but just to kind of like, I felt like I had no idea it could be this bad.
Yeah.
Like no idea. So that was very scary to us when all this was going on and we didn't understand, and we thought that, you know, I was septic. Am I going into septic shock? Am I like, what's happening? And it was very severe OHSS. So I just want, like, hopefully someone can take away from this just that it can happen. Obviously it's very rare. The doctors were like, nobody knew what to do with me because it's so rare that it gets that bad. But just know that you need to get to the hospital. They'll do a drain and you'll be okay. If you think you need to go, you should go. Don't wait. I'm just glad that they didn't send this back home and it got bad while we were at home. So if you're wondering, I say you should just go and they'll take care of you. But this guy took really good care of me, and my mom, I'm so grateful that she came and she extended her trip to take care of me. It was so bad, and I'm just, yeah.
We're
I'm just
both
really
very grateful that your mom was here to help us out.
And I'm grateful to you.
And glad you're alive.
Yeah. And I remember, like, as bad as I felt, I remember feeling so in love with you. Like, how you would check on me and like defend me with the Foley and get the food, get me Jamba Juice, like get me everything that I needed, and I wouldn't even eat any of it, and just when I didn't feel good, and you talked to me about our honeymoon to like keep my spirits up, and we would talk about all the food that we ate, and you're just like, you're so perfect at like taking care of me that whole time. Like you never got mad at me or like stressed out. You were just like there for me. I really appreciate that.
Thanks.
Yeah. So please don't ever do what I did to you. Okay, I don't know if I could take it if Micah was in the ICU like that. That was very, very scary. I've always said, like, if it's gonna be someone, take me first. I can't deal. But in case you're wondering what kind of happened with the IVF, which is how this whole thing started, like we said in the beginning, they got 43 eggs, 30 were mature.
35 were mature, I think.
Oh, 35 were mature.
20 fertilized, but of those 20, we were hoping, and doctor was hoping for maybe 8 to 10 that were good, that they could freeze, but unfortunately we only got like 5. But 5 is better than none, so
Yeah, paper beats rock, right?
in a month or so, we'll be trying to implant it, and we'll update you when that happens.
Yeah, they kind of just want my body to go back,
rest and recover
to
for
normal.
now.
Yeah. So for the next couple weeks, we're just gonna be trying to have some fun. We're actually really busy with a whole bunch of other stuff, but try to have some fun. We'll film some fun little videos to keep us distracted from this long wait. And I'm getting to eat whatever I want because I got to pack back on some of that weight. I ended up getting down to like 98 pounds, which was kind of scary. But now I feel like I'm getting addicted again. It's like pasta every day. So I really need to start eating healthier again. But yep, we'll keep you posted.
Yep. See you next time.
Thanks for watching.